Hello, everyone. Welcome into my office here at Bethany. Blessed to have you with me today as we continue our sermon series related to this year's ELCA Youth Gathering. This week, we're talking about the fourth day theme, which was that we are created to be disruptive. That may sound a little odd to you. We're created to be disruptive, but actually, it's not that odd when you think about who Jesus was. He disrupted all kinds of power systems and structures throughout the Roman Empire. We have stories of him going into the temple and flipping over the tables out of anger for the way that people were taking advantage of the offerings to make a profit for themselves. Jesus was not afraid to ruffle the feathers of the authorities, whether that be the temple authorities or the Roman authorities, in order to further the love of God's kingdom, the equality and equity of God's kingdom, the justice of God's kingdom. Jesus was all about doing the things that had to be done, even if they meant being disruptive, in order to bring about justice. And we know that justice is one of God's biggest desires for this world. So, what does it mean for us to be holy disruptors? Those were the terms that Pastor Sally Azar used during her speech on day 4. I'm actually going to read something that she said. Sally said, "God disrupted the power of death with the power of life. We are called to be holy disruptors. Every human being deserves to be safe and free. Wherever this world claims that some people are less than others, God calls us to be disruptors." Sally Azar. Sally is a disruptor herself. She actually is the very first female ordained pastor in Palestine. She's about 40 miles or so north of where the war is taking place right now with Israel, but she experiences it on a daily basis. And she actually started her speech that night by talking to the kids about the fact that she grew up thinking it was perfectly normal that every time you went from one town to the next town, you had to go through a checkpoint. You had to have credentials. You had to prove somehow your value or your worth in order to move around from city to city. She never realized until she came to the United States that that just wasn't normal. But think about that. There are people in this world who that's how they live. They have to prove their worth and their value in order to move from one city to the next. Think about the refugees in our world today. They are out there. They're homeless. They have no homeland. In most cases, they've left because of famine or war or crime. They're on the run. They have no food, no shelter, no home, no homeland. They're simply looking for a place to be, to exist, to be welcomed and valued in this world. And we, on the other hand, spend time as a society arguing whether or not they're worthy enough to be here. We're called to be holy disruptors. We're called upon to establish and fight for the value and the dignity of every single human being in this world. Be a holy disruptor. Flip the tables over, just as Jesus did. We're going to talk a lot more about this weekend. I look forward to seeing you. The kids absolutely loved this particular day of the youth gathering. I'm looking forward to sharing some of the thoughts and ideas of it with you this weekend. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Thanks be to God. Amen.